Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Mike Amos, hoping that you're doing well today as we are looking at much colder temperatures out there. 47 degrees in downtown Troy. Airport reported 44 degrees, so cold weather out there, and gladly so as we head straight into fall, and hope everybody was out enjoying a great football game last night. Before 23,182 fans last night, the Troy Trojans beat their rival South Alabama 37-13 in a big game. In fact, a game that will be, I think, more important as the season goes on, because Troy needed to turn the corner. And I think they have, and of course this was a big Sun Belt Conference game last night. Again, Troy wins 37-13 over South Alabama. Troy produced a well-balanced team all night long. In fact, they rushed for right at 200 yards, and they passed for just a little over 200 yards in the victory. And of course, Caleb Barker, the young quarterback, well, I call him a young quarterback, he is our senior quarterback, coming off of injury at Missouri, threw 2 touchdown passes to lead the Trojans. Of course, we got a call coming in. Good morning. You're on Today in LA. Troy wins. Troy wins. Troy's going to win the football game, Mike, when we intercepted that pass.
Man, I wonder what time you got in last night. That game didn't end about 10:30, so you probably didn't get on about midnight, did you?
Well, it was late, but that doesn't concern you what time I got in last night. We had a good time. Your mama got in about the same time I did, let's say that.
I tell you what, South Alabama maybe has one of the worst college quarterbacks I've ever seen. Thank goodness we played against that guy last night.
I told a friend of mine last night, I said the quarterback's not very good, because he could, he just wasn't accurate, He had one guy dropped a sure touchdown, though, one time.
That was late in the fourth quarter. They dropped a sure touchdown. I mean, perfect throw, but that throw he threw to Will Sutherland that he intercepted, there was not a receiver 10 yards. I mean, it was almost like he was throwing the route to him. It was one of the more crazier throws I've ever seen.
Yeah. Where did he come from? Had he been there very long?
He's a sophomore. He's from Mobile originally.
Well, he was a real pretty thing, what I'm saying, pretty, and I use that word.
6'5", 220 pounds.
6'5", 225-pound quarterback, and but they didn't. Of course, they've got the great player. That
mentor kid is the real deal.
He'll play in the pros. He can do it all.
He's good at running kickoffs back too.
Yeah,
they had really good field position most of the game.
They did, and I don't understand why they didn't just really kick it away from him. You talking about the pooch kick. I would have pooch kicked him every time, wouldn't you?
Definitely concerns in the game. I'm sure we'll get into it more, but Caleb Barker, that's probably one of the worst games he's ever played, and Troy still wins 37-13.
And of course,
he can't even hold on to the ball. That's about 5 or 6 times that he just drops balls when he's dropping.
It was sort of a misty night in a way. The field was sort of wet, so I'm sure the ball might have been a little wet at times.
I know, but man, and then 2 horrible interceptions he threw.
I know it. Hopefully he'll get better.
Not his best by any means, but kudos to the defense. They found a way to bend and I guess not break.
Well, they were tough on the goal line, weren't they?
Well, they were tough on the goal line, and then they got turnovers too. It was one of those things where luckily Sutherland had 2 interceptions. One of them he made a play on a deep ball that wasn't even close, and then the other one he ran in for a touchdown, and then even late in the game, Marshall stripped the running back, and Troy fell on that ball late in the game, and were able to run the clock out. So That made a lot of people happy as well.
No question about it. And those guys, that point spread went all the way to 17 last night. I said, that's getting crazy. Man, but you know, those guys in Las Vegas, they know, boy, they know it. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, don't they?
They've been doing it a long time. But here's the stats from last night. Troy had 432 yards compared to South Alabama's 274. Troy had 212 passing. South Alabama had 183 rushing yards. South Alabama had 91. And this is what was really impressive. Troy had 220 yards rushing.
I thought that was very impressive. And I'm telling you.
He looked great again. He's over close to 500 yards on the year. Penalties were not a big factor. South had 4 for 20. Troy had 5 for 56. First down, South had 20. Troy had 28. Third down conversion, South was miserable, 3 for 12. Troy was really good, 10 for 17. Fourth down was 1 for 3 for South, and then 1 for 1 for Troy. Time of possession was pretty close. South Alabama had the ball 27 minutes and 10 seconds, and Troy had it 32 minutes and 50 seconds. So that's your stats from last night.
I tell you, I was just proud to walk out of there with a victory. I thought the crowd was good, especially the students. Boy, that was an impressive student crowd, man.
Yeah, I looked at that on TV. That was extremely impressive. The whole.
I hope the cameras, were on the students.
They did a good job. They did a good job on the ESPN cameras.
So it looked like a bunch of people there. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like there's probably close to 18,000. Well, how many you think?
They reported 23,182.
I don't think there was that many because the whole upper deck was empty when they showed it on TV. But it's one of those crowds. I was pretty impressed. The student turnout was unbelievable. I saw our basketball coach was wearing his uniform again on the field.
He's something else, isn't he? He's promoting his program, and I love it.
Coach Lindsey's quote from the night, that was a good win for us. It was good to keep the belt here in Troy, which I know is a point of emphasis this week. Sometimes these rivalry games, you never know what kind of performance you're going to get from your team. So I'm really proud of our team. Tonight was a total team effort. I'm extremely proud of the defense as they were the key to the game. So that's a quote from Chip Lindsey last night.
Of course, we had delicious camp stew over in our tailgate area, and of course, Hook's Barbecue furnished that for us, and it was really good. We had a good group.
How good of a crowd did y'all have on the stadium club side? Was there empty seats, or was there a lot of people there?
Well, you know how it is with stadium club. People that buy stadium clubs are usually people that are donors. People that give big money, and some of them are not able to come down, especially during the week like this. It was hard to realize that it was just a Wednesday night. Today's a Thursday morning. We got a Thursday morning and a Friday, a Thursday morning and Friday morning. Yeah.
I read last night it's supposed to be 45 degrees this morning in Troy. Is it
it was right at that, and of course it's cold and cool, and it's sweater weather, and I was excited, man. I love that. You know what? When you got cold weather, that means the grass is going to stop growing.
I'm excited too. It's actually 57 in Grayton this morning, which is wonderful.
Oh yeah, exactly. Of course.
This first time we've even come close to the 50s since I've been here.
Watching it on TV, was it a pretty good show?
Yeah, that Chris Connor who does a lot of their shows during the week for college football, and then this guy named Ray Bentley that played in the NFL and played college ball. I'm not sure where he played, but he's been a color guy for ESPN for years, and they were good. They did a segment on Hook's Barbecue, and they both talked about how wonderful Hook's was. The color guy said, I could live in there. He said, I love the smell of that barbecue. He said he had the ribs, and when I heard that, I knew he must love it. It's so good there.
Yeah. Somebody got my shaving cream this morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I'm growing a beard, but I will shave. I promise you.
I tell you what, that was a huge goal line stand Troy did make to start the game. Amos got the ball from the 1 yard line, and I was shocked. Campbell went for it many times, but didn't go for it there.
I thought that. Let me tell you this.
It might have been a whole different game.
I talked to some friends of mine right after that happened, and when Campbell kicked the field goal from a half-yard line, I told some guys, I said, if I was the AD, I would fire him on the spot. No way in the world are you going to kick a field goal from a half-yard line. You got to get Southern there. That was a crazy thing. That was a call that's what a call like that can get a coach fired. Because he's got the wrong idea. You got to go ahead and win the football game. You're not going to win a football game going for 3 from a half-yard line.
I mean, we like Coach Campbell. We know him well. Of course, he's a former Troy player, but you know he's got a lot of issues down there. I mean,
don't you agree? Don't you agree with me? Why? Did that surprise you like unreal? So it was almost like, hey, I'm gonna give you that goal line stand. You know?
Yeah. Of course. After that, I think he gave Troy's defense confidence. They played a lot better throughout the game. Of course.
And he had a running back, like you said. This Minner kid's gonna play in the pros one day. I mean, gosh, you run him 4 straight times. What you do?
Yeah, he kind of got a little cute down there on his play call, and of course he got stuffed later in the game too when Cholo shot the gap and hit the quarterback for about a 3 or 4 yard loss.
Yeah.
Happened a couple times too.
Cello is from. I was with the guy that coached him at Slocum High School. He's from Slocum, Alabama. Is that right?
No, Cholo's from in Georgia. Now the kid from Slocum had his best game of his career. They're trying to move him around like Derek Thomas. His name's Jarvis Hayes.
Yeah, Jarvis Hayes.
They got him standing up now, almost like an outside linebacker, defensive end. You don't know where he's going to be on there.
Slocum, Alabama, the home of the Red Tops, and of course the home of great tomatoes.
He stripped the quarterback one time when they were driving and caused them to fumble. Yeah. So they got on the ball, but he made a lot of tackles. And then Marshall continues to shine. He had 10 more tackles last night.
Mike, it does surprise me. South Alabama's in a haven of college prospects and football players. I mean, just the Mobile area alone is just full of great, outstanding high school players. And then you got the Florida Panhandle. I mean, Panama City to Pensacola, and then you've got the Mississippi Gulf area, and they're full of good football players. They ought to be loaded with talent. But I didn't see other than Minner. I didn't see a good player on their team.
Well, I mean, I feel like that the Watley kid, Jeffrey Watley, the big defense tackle from Dale County that Pete Harrison used to coach.
You mean he? All right, that was one of those boys.
Yeah, no, he's pretty impressive. He made some plays.
Yeah, I remember him in high school.
Here's the stats, individual stats last night. Barker was 20 for 30 for 194, 2 TDs with 2 interceptions and 2 really bad interceptions. Caleb McClain, the receiver, came in and threw a pass, hit a guy wide open on a receiver pass for 18 yards. DK Billingsley had right at 100 yards, 5.0 average. This kid came in late, got his first touchdown of his career, and ran really hard. Trevon Wolflow.
Hey, was he number 24? What number was he?
He's not number 24. He's number 33.
No. Well, let me tell you what. He was impressive. I like the way he ran the football.
But he had his first touchdown in his Troy career and rushed for 42 yards. So good for the Wolflow kid, who I think at the start of the season was probably 4-string.
Yeah, at least that.
We got Fry back last night, and
they didn't use him much, though, did they?
They threw the ball to him, and then he had some runs late. Barker ran for a total net of 36 yards, and I mean, let's just go ahead and say it again. He slid too early. Down.
He sure did.
And Chip Lindsey did something that not many young coaches do. He went from his own 34 yards.
I thought that was crazy. I mean, excuse me. I mean, nothing personal, Coach, but I thought that was a crazy call, especially when you got the lead, you know.
To get a first down, but thank goodness they got it. And I'll tell you what, the offensive line just...
You're right. They smashed them in the fourth quarter. They smashed them.
Barker had all day to throw, to start the game. You know, he had to dump it down a lot. He had to run a lot more because the coverage was good. But definitely great play for the offensive line. Yeah. Javier Dodger-Fry had looks like 6 carries for 26 yards.
You want to see a good-looking football player? I've got a picture of Fry right here. Boy, that's a good-looking picture. And that camera guy ought to get an award. That was really nice.
Kalen Geiger had 2 rushes catches for 20 yards. He ran a lot of reverses. And let me get to the receiving core. You know, Troy was led last night by a guy that never really played a whole lot under Brown, but plays a lot under Lindsey. This kid at wide receiver, who a lot of people don't know, is Brett Clark.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's played a lot.
He had 4 receptions for 60 yards last night. 19 was long. Reggie Todd started out lights out, the Mississippi State transfer, but he got hit on a kickoff return. He always runs the kicks back. It doesn't matter if he gets them 3 or 4 yards deep, but he got injured, so he didn't even play the second half. Luke Whittemore had 3 catches for 34. Caitlin Geiger had 4 for 29, but he had 2 touchdowns. DK Billingsley had 2 for 15. Javier Darcy-Fry had 3 catches for 15 yards. And Khalil McClain had 2 for 15. But you know what I keep on wondering? Where's our great deep threat? One of the fastest guys on the team is Trey Eifert.
Yeah, I know it.
13. And he is not playing a lot for this staff. I don't know if he's in the doghouse. I don't know if he's hurt.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's nothing wrong with him at all.
But you're right. He's probably the fastest man on the team. Yeah.
I mean, he's like the fastest guy as far as catching the deep ball, and I've not even seen him on the field. I don't know what's going on with that.
That's right.
That's your running back and receiving stats.
Well, another thing, hopefully this our big wide receiver is not hurt badly. You know, what kind of injury was it? Do you know?
I mean, it was some kind of leg injury, it looked like. But I mean, he was on the sidelines. They said he could come back in.
Yeah.
Also, we need to mention this guy. This guy was a star linebacker at Ramsey, and now is starting, at the other linebacker spot next to Carlton Marshall. And Justin Wisenhunt has played good games. He had 10 tackles.
Yeah.
To go along with Marshall's 9, and Cholo had 5. Jaquez Dunmore had 5, and then Sutherland had 4 to go along with 2 interceptions. So.
And Sutherland is a transfer from Oklahoma, isn't he? Yeah, he played at Oklahoma.
He really played well. The only unfortunately is, we lost Melvin Tice again to targeting. That's twice that's happened to Tice this year. So Melvin Tice will have to sit out the first half of the Georgia State game.
Yeah, and gosh, we've got a week and a half before that game. Isn't that right? What, 8?
Yeah, you've got 10 more days to play this one as well.
10 more days.
I don't know what's going on with Troy as well. Zoe Bridges, I guess, is hurt. The kid that came back from Opelika High School.
Yeah, and he's an outstanding player, yeah.
I'm sure, and he's been out for the last couple games as well, so I don't know when Troy's getting him back.
Yeah. But you're exactly right. I love the way the Troy team played on defense. They got after you. They ran to the football real well, and they're athletic. There's no question. It'd be great if they get back a few their secondary guys, but against this quarterback, you didn't have to be great.
Yeah, both of those Mixon brothers, both of them are out for Troy as well, so they haven't played in a while. So Troy's got a lot of injuries.
This guy's name is Cephas Johnson. Do a little research for us on him.
I know he's from Mobile. Marshall used to use him in high school.
Yeah. And
why talk about him? He's awful.
I know it. I was just wondering, how does he get that job? You would think that there'd be somebody else out there pushing him.
I saw him get destroyed by UAB, and they brought in a backup at UAB, and that kid was horrible too. So
isn't that a shame?
Can't find a quarterback.
And he likes to run the ball. I really was surprised.
It's kind of hard to believe that South Alabama parted ways with Joey Jones. Joey Jones had really competitive teams. South Alabama
sure
is
did.
competitive right now.
Yeah, they were, and you know what? The guys out there in Las Vegas knew it too. I mean, didn't that surprise you? That thing jumped 2.5 points at one time.
Yeah, I had friends texting me and asking me, "What about Troy?" And I said, "Man, I wouldn't touch it. I don't know."
If I would have touched it, I'd gone the other way because of the big rivalry. And Troy got a couple of big.
Over/under was 55.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little high too. No question about it.
Shoot, that's about to go over at the end of the game. Most of the time Troy would just give up a mop-up touchdown late in that game, but Marshall was still in there and stripped their running back and caused a fumble. They had the ball at about the 28-yard line late in the game.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 minutes left when that happened.
Yeah, that's right. And I I tell you.
Some kid from Charles Henderson, he played.
Yeah, now
it's more of a blocker. I think he caught one ball for 7 yards. Jared Wilson.
Yeah, I don't remember him very well. I don't know why.
I don't remember him either. I mean, he was number 21 at Charles Henderson, but I mean, I've heard him talk about him.
I know he's a big back. He's a real big kid, but I just for some reason don't remember. Him playing much at Charles Henson, but he must have.
Yeah, South Alabama's going to have a big decision to make with their athletic department. I mean, they're 1-6.
Yeah.
Campbell's coming off 3-9 his first year. They got a brand new football stadium. They're going to have a lot of excitement. Do you stay with this guy?
I hate to say it.
Turn it around, or what do you think?
I hate to say it, but unless they've got a athletic director that's kind-hearted, his days. I think are numbered.
It's a shame. He won a national championship at Delta State.
Yeah.
He won a national championship in the junior college ranks. He was really impressive at Central Arkansas. Upset a lot of 1A teams.
Yeah.
Really, really sad they can't get it going.
Well, and I hate it too, and I hope there's a AD there at South Alabama willing to be patient a while and let him build a program, but. Man, you're supposed to be better your second year, and they sure aren't better. They were better last year.
Yeah, of course they got, two former Troy players, coaching offense coordinators, Kenny Edenfield, who was at Troy for so many years.
Yeah.
Haystack Stewart, of course, played on, I think, maybe 2 national championship teams at Troy. I mean, you got three.
Yeah.
You got 3 best friends coaching together. All they need is Mike Turk to come down there, and they
I know it. That's right. No question about it. And they're all great guys, and I'll pull for them every game except for one, and that's the Troy game. And hopefully things will turn around for them. But it doesn't look very good. It just does not look very good, and I hate it.
But big win for Coach Lindsey. Troy goes to 3-3, and you got 6 games left to try to make a bowl. Of course, Troy fans would feel a lot better if you got to 7-5 instead of 6-6. But, boy, you look at that schedule, and it is going to be tough to go 4-2. I mean, I would be happy with 3-3, and let's just hope and pray Johnny Williams gives us kindness and puts us in Montgomery at least.
Well, if we get 6, are we going to get 6? Will Campbell count? Will that count toward the 6?
You can count one, I think, one AA victory.
Okay. We're 3-3. Right now, we're 3-3.
You're 3-3, and you got a really, really good Georgia State team.
How did they become good all of a sudden, Mike? How did they become that good?
Well, they got the interim coach after Spurrier left, and he took them to a bowl game his first year. They struggled last year. I think his name's Sean Elliott.
Yeah.
But it's just a situation where Atlanta and the town.
Oh yeah, we were talking last night. I mean, he doesn't even have to go outside the Atlanta area. I mean, he'll get enough players just within 20 minutes of the school.
I mean, how many guys doesn't want to play in downtown Atlanta at Turner Field? I mean, that's a pretty cool, converted baseball stadium into a football stadium.
In fact, we have a bus going that will be leaving not this Saturday, but Saturday week at noon. The bus will be leaving here, heading for that ball game, and it's only $50 cost, and should be a lot of fun. Going to go over there to the game and tailgate and have a good time, and then after the game come home, probably stop and eat somewhere on the way home. But we've got a pretty good sized bus going over there, and it should be a lot of fun.
I mean, Troy, fortunately, has always played really well against Georgia State.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Troy's ever even lost to Georgia State.
Well, Georgia State hasn't been very competitive until this year, it looks like.
Well, I mean, they went to a bowl game 2 years ago.
Yeah. All right, let's look at it.
After that's the game that's really scared me as well, too, is Coastal Carolina.
Yeah. How did they do this past week, Mike?
I think they got beat by Georgia State.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Georgia State beat them. What, at Georgia State?
I think so. Georgia State shocked the world, of course, to start the season and pretty much manhandled Tennessee.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how they started their season. But, yeah, these next 2 games, if you're a Troy fan, are about as big as you can possibly get.
Southern at home. Georgia Southern must be sort of like South Alabama, just more of a run type oriented team. Is that right?
Yeah, but Georgia Southern took Minnesota to overtime. Minnesota's undefeated.
I know it. Sure it is.
I think that Georgia Southern's pretty talented.
Yeah, and well, that quarterback, and of course, he was arrested, and they let him back on the team. I don't know if I would have done that. You know, cocaine is, you know, marijuana is bad enough, but cocaine is real bad. I mean, why would you want any player on your team to even have cocaine in their possession? I would fire them on the spot, wouldn't you?
I mean, marijuana is legal in 8 states, so
yeah.
It's a little bit different.
But cocaine is a real deal, and that's bad as far as I'm concerned.
If you beat Georgia Southern, let's say they lost, you know, they split those games against Coastal and Georgia State. That puts you at 4-4. That puts you at 5-4 after Georgia Southern, and then you'd have a really winnable game, even though they're playing a lot better. Texas State on the road to San Marcos. So there's a chance Troy could be, you know, bowl eligible. They could be, you know, 6-4 with Louisiana Lafayette on the road left and Appalachian State at home left. So there's a chance Troy could be at 6-4 going into that game, but they're going to have to play a lot better. Than they played last night at quarterback. I mean,
I would think Johnny Williams
quarterback put Troy in a tight spot last night. And thank goodness the defense played well.
That's right. And
I mean, when you fumbled the ball inside the 10-yard line, you just gave a touchdown after. I know it. You know,
after a great stand, a great goal line stand, and that happens. You know, again. He surprised me. He went for it instead of kicking a field goal. I would have gone ahead and kicked the field goal down there, and he didn't do that. And I was surprised by a couple of his the calls that.
But Troy's got to stop kicking these short little field goals. I mean, Sumter's making little 25-yard field goals. You know, Troy's play calling is great down until they get into the red zone. That's what it is.
You know, they say they missed one. I must have been in the restroom or something.
He missed one big late in the game when we really needed it. We're about to go back up. I think the lead had been cut to 10. We're about to go back up to 13.
And he missed it, didn't he?
36-yarder, a chip shot.
That's right.
For a college kid, you got to make a 36-yarder. So he's missed a couple of little short ones this year too.
Let me tell you something that is unreal, and I'd like for you to check this out. He had 100 for 100 in his career on extra points.
Yeah, on PATs. Yeah.
I mean, that is phenomenal, Mike. Check that, see if that's right. I mean, they were trying.
That's right. They showed it on.
100 out of 100. Mike, there are not many people in this world that's ever done that. I'm telling you. Look at it. Look up and find out who had more straight extra points than that. That's unbelievable. 100 extra points.
I know Alabama kickers have not.
But I'll tell you what, too, you're exactly right. But that's a good omen as far as Troy's kicking coach and kicking teams. I mean, 100 on your extra points is pretty darn good, and I'm proud of them.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it should be automatic in college football. I mean, it's not like in the pros where you're kicking 33-yard field goals for extra points.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, like you said, that Georgia and Georgia State's trying to.
Here's Georgia State's record. If anybody wants to look at it, they started the season with a huge upset, one of the biggest in college football. They beat Tennessee 38-30, and then they come back from 20 down to beat Furman at home 48-42.
Pretty good program, yeah.
Then they go on the road to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and play Western Michigan, and Western Michigan beats them 57-10.
Boy.
So,
yeah, and Western Michigan's a team that played in the Camellia Bowl last year, or the year before last.
That was Eastern Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Eastern Michigan's where rowed the boat. The Minnesota coach used to be, and they had good teams.
Yeah.
But then they went on the road and lost a shocking game to Texas State, 37-34 in triple overtime.
See, that scares me a little bit about Texas State. They're going to be pretty good, I think.
But this is what scares me. So they're 2-2 to start the season after that. Then they win at home against Arkansas State. We know what Arkansas State is, but they beat Arkansas State 52-38.
Oh, boy.
In Atlanta. And then they go on the road to Coastal Carolina, to Conway, and beat Coastal Carolina 31-21. So they're 4-2.
They're good. You're right. And they're in the picture now. Of course, everybody's thinking about Appalachian State and Louisiana Lafayette, or what they call Louisiana now. Mike, let's go to. We're gonna put you on hold a second. Be right back. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, it's Will Matthews.
Will Matthews, won't you please come home? Will, before we go any further, there was a young lady that I ran into last night that said she wanted to meet you. I said, are you talking about the same Will Matthews that I know? And then I got in the elevator with another lady that said, man, I can't believe that you're letting Will Matthews come on your show. But get up with me today, Stan. Let me give you a name that you need to get up with.
All right.
All right. First of all, let me go back to Mike. We're gonna put you on hold.
All right.
So we're gonna put Will Matthews on hold. So I got both of them on hold now. All right, I got both of you now. Is that right? Hello.
I'm on.
Mike, we've got the legendary Will Matthews Jr. on the other line.
Yeah, I told Will not to take Troy last night. What a great decision I told him.
I'm gonna tell you something. They were behind in the sprint the whole game till the last quarter.
Yeah. Did you enjoy watching the game?
It was, Troy made so many stupid mistakes. I mean, it was just, the fumble on the 2 or 3 yard line. That was awful.
Especially after you have a great goal line stand, and
they just give it right back to them.
Yeah.
Dad, we didn't mention this, but Georgia State doesn't have Troy's got more time to prepare for Georgia State because they play host to Army this weekend in Atlanta.
Oh boy, that'll be a physical game right there. But I would think
that's good for Troy. They play Army before Troy plays them on the 26th of October.
And in fact, do you have a line on that game?
I mean, yeah, I can get a scores and odds.
I would like Georgia State in that game.
I don't know. Army's pretty good.
Yeah, but they're not as good as they were last year. It doesn't seem like.
I guess I watched them play against Michigan, and that's when they looked real good.
They scored 77 points on somebody last year. I know that. And we
did the pick show on Tuesday for Bill Jackson, so I don't know if he ever gave us any picks or not, but we'll take your picks if you want to give us.
Yeah, I've got 7 this week.
All right, here we go. Everybody, wait a minute now. Let's let everybody get a chance to get their pen and pencil ready. There are people calling people up, said Mike's got Will Matthews on the line, the legendary predictor.
Last week I was 6-1 last week on these.
Okay, and this is against the Las Vegas line. Is that right?
That's right.
All right, go ahead.
Oregon -3 against Washington.
Oregon -3. So you think they're going to beat Washington? That sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Stanford -7 against UCLA.
Stanford.
You can watch that tonight.
All right, minus what now?
7.
Against who?
UCLA.
Okay, I got you.
Duke +4 against Virginia.
I like all of these. Okay.
This is the one I think that's going to be the best one of the week. Florida -6 against South Carolina.
You think they'll? You don't think South Carolina will be able to bow up to them and win the game?
Florida will out-physical them, and I think they'll beat them.
Okay, so over South Carolina.
And I like this one too. Indiana -3.5 against Maryland.
You know, that's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, Maryland has self-destructed.
Well, you know, they played it.
They've won 3 games, but they've kind of only beaten the teams that they were supposed to beat.
All right, let me ask this. Where are they playing this game?
Maryland.
At Maryland. Of course, Indiana's got a pretty good team, too.
Indiana can score, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
I've got 2 SEC games. I like Tennessee plus 36 against Alabama.
Gosh, I do too.
And I like Georgia minus 24 against Kentucky.
Georgia minus 24.
Like Georgia's going to have to blow people out the rest of the season.
Yeah, they're not going to take any prisoners Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. But that sounds good. He likes Oregon minus the 3 against Washington. That game must be played in Seattle. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Stanford minus the 7 against UCLA. Duke plus the 4 against Virginia. Florida minus the 6 against South Carolina. Indiana minus the 3.5 against Maryland. And then he likes, who was that first one? Tennessee plus the 36.
And then Georgia minus 24.
And Georgia minus 24 against, who are they playing? Wait a minute.
They're playing
Kentucky. I got you. Yeah, playing Kentucky.
Kentucky last week moved their wide receiver to quarterback, and he actually rushed for 200 yards, and they found a way to beat Arkansas. Sawyer Smith, the transfer out of Troy, played so poorly, and then he's got, I think, some kind of shoulder injury, and I don't think he's going to play against Georgia as well. So they'll be playing this converted receiver / quarterback against Georgia, and Georgia should shut him down.
No question about it. Of course, I saw a lot of folks from Dothan at the game last night. Troy had a good support people from the Wiregrass. They really do support Troy.
Yeah.
No question about it. Anything else, Will?
No, I think the Vandy coach is in real big trouble.
What is his buyout? Didn't he sign a new contract last year?
He just did, and that, I couldn't believe. They got a new athletic director.
Yeah.
The old athletic director died.
Oh, did he?
So they got a new athletic director, and the new athletic director came in and gave him a new contract, which is free.
Oh, man. So now one of these rich donors has got to write a check. Is that right?
Somebody will have to.
All right. Who is this? Oh, yeah. All right. We'll
Vanderbilt job, and you got to think the Vanderbilt job and the Mississippi State job are going to come over.
all right. Tell him to call back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no question.
Yeah. We
Coach is gone.
who is that?
The Mississippi State coach is gone. You
Yeah.
can get him.
Well, I'm sure he's got some kind of buyout himself, probably.
They all do.
Do you know, Will, something I think, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're crazy, you fell out of your tree or whatever. I think Arkansas will play Auburn tough. I really do.
The
What?
line looks funny. The line looks funny. You would think Auburn would beat them at least 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, what is it?
The line is like 18 points.
Yeah, I got you.
Auburn losing their great running back is really going to hurt them. But I think they'll find a way to beat Arkansas.
Yeah. We got some great games. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then the Alabama game. Hey, you talking about getting a free ticket to a SEC game? That 8 o'clock kickoff is going to keep a lot of folks away from that game. All right.
I'm going to tell you something you look for. You look for this when you watch the game Saturday night.
Yeah.
At halftime, people will start leaving.
Yeah. All right. I've got Max Howell coming in. Will, I'm going to try to hold you if I can.
You tell Max I said hey, and I'll call y'all next week.
All right. Thank you so much for your call. And call me later. Call me later today. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Marcus, Max, how you this morning?
Max, how you doing, man? I tell you that we had every line full, and we apologize for yesterday. I don't know what happened, but I never did get the word that you were out there, and of course we appreciate you calling. Let me put you on hold a second. Bring Mike Amos in here. We had Will Matthews in here just a moment ago. We're going to bring Max in right here, and I believe we got it. Is that right? Mike, you on the line?
Yeah, you got me.
And you got Max Howell, ladies and gentlemen, one of the, if you're looking for a football analyst, a football coach that's been there and done there. Max Howell is the guy that I like to talk to. And Max, good to hear from you today. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I got a big win last night.
Yeah, they did. Did you watch any of it?
I watched the whole ball game. I really did.
All right. Just what did you see?
Well, I thought Troy was better coached. I thought they got more talent in South Alabama. I don't think they played with much intensity to begin with. I think they just kind of went through the motion. The quarterback's not bad. Had a bad fumble down on his own goal line and gave up one touchdown to him. But I don't think there's ever any doubt who's going to win the ball game. I think they ratcheted up a little bit the second half. But they're always going to. I don't know whether they win the conference or not. I haven't seen everybody, but App State's going to be a challenge for them. But I like what Chip's done with them.
Yeah, I tell you what, they look athletic. There's no question about it. And a team that can run. These two running backs. Troy lost a couple of running backs, but these two running backs look like they're the real deal, man. Yeah,
the Billingsley kid, I like him. I tell you, that number 5 for South Alabama, I want you transfer.
Oh yeah, he's going to be a pro. Yeah, he's going to play in the pros. His name's Mentor.
He's a good running back. He's got all the tools. He's got some instincts too. You don't coach.
Yeah, Mike, is he a senior or what is he?
I think he's a senior. Yeah, we're talking about South Alabama's program, Max. Coach Campbell, of course, we know really well. Was on the
great guy
championship team at Troy, and Coach Eddingfield's the offense coordinator that was at Troy for several years and played at Troy, and then Greg Stewart played at Troy as defense coordinator as well. But he goes 3-9 his first year. This year he's already 1-6. They're building a brand new state-of-the-art stadium on campus. That's going to be a tough decision for that athletic director with that new stadium coming in if they go 3-9 again.
That's what it's tough enough to go 3-6, to have a losing season in your first year, but they're supposed to have been better this year, and they don't even look. That quarterback. I turned my head to a friend of mine early in the game. I said, "That's not a very good quarterback," and sure enough, he wasn't very good.
Well, he's been hurt. Hasn't he been hurt, though? Didn't he have a head injury?
Well, I mean, he's been hurt, but he's been their starter all year. I mean, he only managed, I think they scored 3 points against UAB at Legion Field earlier this year. I mean, he struggled against a lot of teams. He really played his best game against Nebraska in the season when they got beat 35-21.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, it just doesn't look like he's got a lot of skill players, Max, that you would have thought.
But you know what, guys? It's hard to recruit. Think about where they're located. Everybody in the country comes to that coast. We were talking about that earlier, and you're exactly right. Everybody said, "Oh gosh, he can recruit the Florida Panhandle. He can recruit the Mobile area, and he can recruit the Mississippi Gulf area." But like you said, everybody else is recruiting it. You know what I mean? One thing is recruiting, another thing is to get them to campus.
Yeah.
You got to sign them. Once you get there. And then again, here's the thing that I've looked at, and I know I've checked his track record and look where he's been. But every guy is not meant to be at every school.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you ask me, you tell me that when they hired Jimmy Pruitt at Tennessee, he was the absolute best candidate for a track record for an assistant coach in the country. He had the most credentials. And he struggled like crazy. Since he's been there because there's no talent. And if we talked about X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's a long time.
Yeah.
If you ain't got the Jimmy's and Joe's, I don't care what you do. I ain't never lost a game on paper.
You know what I thought he would do? And again, the word patience. Very few coaches have any patience. Like to run between the tackles. To run between the tackles.
But it's the fan base, Mike. It's the fan base and the administration having patience along with that. And what happens is, particularly the big schools, the people quit going to games.
Oh, yeah.
And then the contributions drop.
Yeah.
And the budgets has to be readjusted. That's what caught you quick. Of course, the one-loss record is what the end result of that is.
Yeah.
So, you got to look at it overall in the big picture. But, Michael, you're absolutely right. A new stadium, an athletic director there that probably didn't hire Campbell is going to be a major decision. division if he goes in.
And let me tell you, the program has a chance to just skyrocket. Don't you agree? That's a perfect location for a great program, don't you think?
Well, yeah, the location is great, though, Mike. But look how many people. Boise, Idaho ain't no great location, and they do pretty good.
They sure do.
Troy's 3-3 right now, Max. We talked about the fact they've got 6 games left. They got to at least go 3-3 to make it to a bowl. Dad and I were wondering, does one of the 1AA games, the one they won against Campbell, can they count that as 6 wins to go to a bowl?
Yeah, there's something in the rule, Mike, about that. And I can't remember.
You maybe have one of those.
Yeah, I want to say you can count one. Yeah.
I think that's right. I do think that's right.
And, of course...
Troy fans would rather go 75. Troy fans would rather go 8-4. But, it's been a tough start to the season, 3-3. And Troy's got to play Lafayette, I know, on the road. And Lafayette's really good this year. And then Appalachian State is the last game of the season at Troy. I mean, if Appalachian State finds a way to beat South Carolina, they're going to be undefeated playing on a New Year's Day bowl game, probably.
Yeah, they could be.
That's a good
Because
point.
they've already beat North Carolina, and if they beat South Carolina, I think they would be the pick.
Yeah.
Well, do they...
I agree. I think the. Have you seen them play?
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, their quarterback's trustful.
He's out of Birmingham, yeah.
Yep.
And I think they got a player out of Montgomery, too, Mike.
The starting cornerbacks out of Montgomery.
Yeah, that's right. No question. Of course, Mac, of course, everybody's looking at this week. I thought Will had some interesting picks that surprised me a little bit. But I sort of like him. He's got Oregon. Oregon's just a 3-point favorite at Washington. Of course, Washington's pretty good, but I think Oregon goes up there and wears them out. What do you think?
Well, they had losses in Auburn met up with Boston.
I know it.
They got better and better. Washington struggled. I think, they came out of the gate, I think the favorite in the pack, but I don't know, the wheels kind of came off their program.
And, and they're coached by a guy that's from this part of the country. Of course, he coached at Alabama, and, of course, he coached down in Florida. He's a pretty well-known guy. I think he's helped.
Mario Cristobal was at Florida International. He played all the time.
I think he's, given that, giving Oregon a more of a hard-nosed type of atmosphere there.
I think that's been the knock on them all along. Everybody knew they had highly.
Been pretty, and had those ugly uniforms.
And they can. Well, that was Phil Knight. Put that on them. But the fact is, they could move the ball up and down the field. They couldn't stop anybody. But that's kind of been the history of the pack, and much like it is in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the programs get identified like with that, guys, for a reason. It's because they don't recruit those kind of kids that can play, or the philosophy of the coach, that they take that thing on the offensive side to another level where, everything they read to people buy tickets because they want to see 40, 50, 40. They attract TV audiences because they can throw the ball up and down the field all day. But that's still winning. You've got to have to play some defense.
And then they, got Stanford, and you look at Stanford, the guy can coach, man. I tell you, he's bringing them back around. They're only a 7-point favorite against UCLA, and gosh, you don't know who's going to show up at UCLA. But I would think Stanford would go up there and beat them, don't you think?
Oh, I'd pick them right there. Just again, I've always thought Stanford comes as close to an SEC team in the pack as anybody out there, or better than anybody else.
Of course, that
kind of. I like Stanford.
Yeah, he likes Duke against Virginia, and you're getting 4 points. But Duke's pretty good, though, don't you think?
Oh yeah, well, look, Cliff does an outstanding job, and he's recruited. You go back to, I guess Steve Spurrier kind of set the tone when he was at Duke.
That's right.
David Cook was, rival that pretty close, as close as anybody else.
Yeah, who else coached well at Duke was Steve Sloan. You remember when Steve Sloan coached there?
I remember, I remember when he was at Ole Miss as well.
All right, he thinks.
I thought you were going to say another Steve Spurrier. He won the ACC championship.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
You think people think of Steve Sloan or Steve Spurrier, Duke?
I don't know, but Steve Sloan was a pretty good coach, though, no question. Florida, he likes Florida a lot in this situation. Just 6-point favorite over South Carolina. That sounds pretty good to me.
Well, I think what we're going to do is, and I was just on another show, what's going to happen, guys, I think, is to how we'll handle the big win over Georgia last week. I think the momentum can carry in. Did he kind of take that in stride and get back to the basics in preparation for Florida, or did he kind of get them off a little bit because of the big win? Georgia, I promise you, Georgia's probably a lot more physical than Florida will be, but Florida's going to finesse them a little bit, I think. I don't see how they can play and get. I don't think Will can get them up twice back to back to play with a team like Florida.
I agree with you. I think I like that one. Indiana, of course, is
one thing about Florida that impressed me is offensively. I mean, they look dominant against LSU at times. I mean, of course, at the very end of the game, had every chance to cut it to 7 and kick an onside kick. But I've been impressed with Trask at quarterback. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, having not started since he was in the 9th grade, I think that was a pretty good choice.
I am happy though. I like Muschamp. I'm glad that he beat Georgia because I think that'll save his job at South Carolina.
Yeah. Now he needs to keep playing though, Michael. He didn't need to lose the rest of them.
Look at that schedule. That schedule is the toughest schedule in the country. They still got to play.
I know it is. I know it is, but you know what? The fan base could care less about that. I mean, I tell you every week just about. My daughter's a season ticket holder there. She and her husband, they go to every ball game. They have they're really in touch with what goes on at that university. And she was texting me back and forth. She couldn't believe that they won it. And then she and I talked on Sunday about that. And her first response was that was a great win, but they better win a few more. They really need to get to a bowl game this year, regardless of the schedule.
No question about it.
Dad, I said that Frank Sadler was smiling down from heaven seeing South Carolina win out of Georgia.
Sure was. Of course, I want to remind folks that.
All right, I got to tell you one quick story about Frank myself. When he was at right after he left South Carolina, and I was at Florida State. We opened up in '89. We opened up with South Carolina. Joey Dunn was coaching the defense, and Frank had just gone to Chattanooga, I believe, after that season in '88 with Joe Marshall and them. And so I called Frank. I said, look, I need give me some insight. I said, I don't expect you to tell me everything they do, but you know a little bit about Joey's defense. So he gave me kind of 3 or 4 situations Joey liked to do against him in practice every day. Guys, we had them 21-0 first quarter. And I give Frank the credit for that. He and I laughed about that for years.
He was at one time as good a beer quarterback. I mean, a beer coach as anybody in the country. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Not the wishbone, but he ran the split back veer, and boy, it set all kinds of records at South Carolina.
They did. They really did. So, but anyway, Frank and I, rest in peace, my friend. He really made his contribution to the game.
In fact, he will be buried tomorrow. His funeral will be at the First Baptist Church of Troy. The visitations from 9 to 10:30, and the funeral will start at 10:30. Excuse me, 10:30 is the time of the funeral from the First Baptist Church of Troy.
He lost Patty a few years ago, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Boy, what a beautiful lady she was, and now they're together. It's wonderful. And she was, out of Goshen, Alabama, one of the prettiest ladies, and
I remember. Yeah.
And he was so proud of her.
Did Coach Sadler meet her at college when he was playing at Troy?
He did. And Max, were you there, or was he a little bit before you?
He was a little before I was. I got there at 60.
He was with Johnny Sanders and that bunch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, the great Elba coach Mac Wood was on that team too, wasn't he?
He was. Yes,
yeah.
He was.
Of course.
A lot of people have been talking about Mississippi State. Of course, losing to Tennessee and Coach Moorhead coming out and admitting that that the job's a lot tougher than he thought it was going to be in the SEC, and the fan base is down. He said that, fans have gone up to his family and his daughter and said that he sucks and all these, horrible comments, and he actually brings that up in his press conference, and you can tell he's a guy that's in disarray and wants out the way it looks to me.
He's going to be offered. I think he's going to be offered the Rutgers job, and that's where he's from.
Oh, really?
That's what we hear down here. Of course, LSU coming to town. I mean, look, guys, think about the state of Mississippi. You got LSU and Texas A&M coming to Mississippi.
Yeah.
So, what's crazy about that, though? I like Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss to have a lot better chance of being A&M than Mississippi State even standing on the field with LSU.
I think they got a better chance, but they don't have enough talent, Mike. They just don't. They'll play them hard. I'm saying A&M's got to play like they did against Alabama.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I think they turned the corner a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, but Alabama beats you up, man. It takes a while to recover from an Alabama game.
Very true. I understand all those things, but I don't know. I just think that they will be close to the fourth quarter, and I'll let A&M play away from it.
The quarterback's got to play. Got to be able to play. The one that got hurt. They need him to play, or they don't have a chance, Mike.
Yeah, I know Moorhead was a hot commodity at Penn State, but, man, that was just an interesting hire. I mean, the athletic director had to go out on his own to make that hire, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think he had some help from a couple of the boosters. I'll track that back down, Mike. But the first time that happened, my first impulse was the communication problem. Because he brought 3 or 4 guys from the Northeast with him down here, and I said, how in the world are they going to recruit? Now, they kept Terrell Buckley and a couple other guys on the staff that's able to make that communication a little bit better. But they've not done a good enough job in recruiting because of that very thing, and it's hard for him to communicate with the kids in the Delta. I mean, it's just it wasn't a good fit. It just hadn't been a good fit. And
then he brought in the transfer quarterback from Penn State, and he has not done well at all.
Well, he's been hurt. He's been hurt every ball game.
Yeah.
It's something about the physicality of where they are, what they do. And think about it. His only other head job, I believe, is at Fordham. When he's talking to kids going to Fordham and Penn State, that is not like kids that go to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now.
No
their financial background, their background socially, none of that compares.
Yeah.
That's a whole different era.
Yeah.
Somebody from Ole Miss or Mississippi State needs to go up to Memphis and hire their coach. Memphis has got a great coach.
It sure does. No question about it.
They do a really good job, but that's some other things that go on at Memphis, guys.
You
want to kind of stay away from.
Yeah, Max. They've got Tennessee is a 36 point. Las Vegas got Alabama plus minus the 36. What do you think about that? I think Tennessee's going to play them a little bit tougher than that, don't you?
I think how long does Tua play? If they leave him in there the whole ball game, they'll score 50 up to 60.
Yeah.
And I look for them to do some substitution now. They didn't last week against A&M. They played the whole ball game. But
sure did.
He's going to get some time, and I'm not sure if one of the 2 younger kids, Tyson or the Tua's brother, doesn't get some playing time in this one too. Now, that's a coaching decision, guys. That what do they want to push Tua for the Heisman, and he needs the numbers.
That's right.
Tennessee. So,
I tell you what, 8 o'clock is a late.
A lot of people are saying that he'll feel sorry for Jeremy Pruitt. I don't think Saban feels sorry for him.
I don't think that'll be. I think it's all about where this team's headed and what they got to look for. Guys, they can't afford to get him hurt to get ready to play LSU now. I'm gonna tell you.
Another thing that comes into play here is there'll be tickets everywhere for this game because it's an 8 o'clock kickoff.
Facebook right now.
8 o'clock kickoff. People are not going to go to Tuscaloosa and drive back in the middle of the night. There'll be tickets everywhere for this game. Maybe even free. You might even find some free tickets. Isn't that about right?
Well, if Saban wins this game, he'll go 13-0 against Tennessee at Alabama. He's never lost to them.
That's true.
That is amazing.
He'll be 18-0 against his assistants
too. He's another one that I'm afraid is not going to be able to make it. I'm just thinking he's just I know he's a great recruiter and all that, but he wasn't ready to be a head coach, in my opinion.
Look what he inherited, though, Mike. I mean, think about that. He inherited nothing. I mean, Butch Jones didn't even have a required strength program for him.
Oh, man.
And tear the whole thing down. I mean, it was a way bigger mess than the fan base ever expected and realized. That program in Arkansas, with Bielema there, was the two biggest flops in the Southeastern Conference as far as hires concerned. Not just in one loss record, that's the end result. It was the management of the program that both of them totally failed in.
Mike.
The fan base being patient, can be patient, and Fuller can keep them on track. Jeremy Foote might make it, but it's going to take 3 or 4 years to do it.
Listen to this.
I think Bielema was one of the worst coaching decisions of all time. I mean, the guy had won 3 Big Ten titles. It was.
I know. Why that AD ran him off, I think.
Was loved there. I mean, he goes to Arkansas, which is maybe the 4th or 5th best team in the West, and that never made any sense.
Yeah. It didn't.
That was Jeff Long's deal from day one. They ended up firing Long. He's at Kansas now with Les Miles. And that thing internally was just, you know how much they still owe Bielema? They still owe him $11 million.
Oh, gosh. He's just got a big smile on his face.
He's coaching for the New England Patriots. He's defensive line coach.
Yeah, he's a walk-on.
Mike, I'll give you an upset that's 3 weeks away. I just looked at Tennessee's schedule. They play Alabama. Then next week they play Tennessee plays South Carolina. In 2 weeks, on November the 2nd, Tennessee plays UAB. UAB's going to stuff them. Don't you agree?
I tell you what, man, they're 4-1, 5-1. They're pretty good.
Yeah, he's going to stuff them. And then the next week, after that, he plays Kentucky and Missouri and Vanderbilt. So he's going to be lucky to win 2 or 3 games.
Well, I thought at the beginning of the year they thought Mike could get 6. But, after he lost that over to Georgia State, I knew that, the wheels had already come off.
Yeah.
And he's still shuffling. Now, they played, I think they played a little bit better against Mississippi State. But Mississippi State's got enough problems internally as well, and we saw that.
Yeah.
And Michael, you pointed out what all Boy had said this week.
Yeah.
They got a lot of problems inside. And, it's got to go back to John Cohen. Some of that does. John went out on a limb with some advice from some of his big-time boosters down here to go somewhere and find out of this area. And they did that with basketball. And they did that with baseball as well.
Yeah.
So, they hired Indiana or Penn State coach. Not Penn State.
Indiana baseball coach.
Indiana baseball coach, yeah.
Oh, gosh. See that?
Of course, they went to the World Series, though, so that was pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a...
Penn State played pretty well, too, but Moorhead was calling every play, but he ain't doing too well at Mississippi State right now.
Exactly right.
It's kind of a weird situation. They hired, Dan Mullen, and Dan Mullen's from New Hampshire. He was from the North, but, he had coached in the SEC and was the offensive coordinator in Florida when they won 2 national championships.
Absolutely. It wasn't bad to be offensive coordinator with Urban Meyer.
I tell you what, Mullen is a guy I think that will win a national championship. I've been impressed with him a lot over the years. I think they'll have a team at Florida that will win it all. Yeah,
he's sitting in one of the best recruiting areas in the country, and he'll absolutely do it. If he had the talent Georgia's got, he'd already be there. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Max, the big one is just around the corner. Everybody's waiting. And, of course, now LSU's got to do what it's got to do, and Alabama's got to do what they're going to do. We were talking about this on November the 9th. LSU plays at Alabama. Both of them should be undefeated, 1-2 in the country. Could be one of the biggest games, Max, maybe in the history of regular season college football. I cannot think of a game more important or it's going to have more of the nation just constant. Yeah. And we were talking about this.
It's going to be
this
game of the century part 2, like 2011.
exactly. And Max, the cost of a ticket could reach as high as $1,000. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any doubt now. I mean, it's gonna be one. And I'll say this: if Alabama had to go to Baton Rouge on a Saturday night, and LSU plays as good as they can.
I agree.
I ain't sure they can beat them down there on Saturday night, man.
Yeah, but don't y'all want to see this LSU offense though against Auburn's defense? Like that game's coming up before the Alabama game.
Yeah, I know that. You're right.
Several points on Auburn's defense. I'm going to be a true believer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna guarantee you they're gonna score.
Yeah.
I trust.
Well, see what they're so good about it. They're balanced. I mean, it looks like they can run it and they can throw it. You know.
Yeah, they got three young. Those running backs are what, freshmen and redshirt freshmen too.
Yeah. What, Mike? Will the game be a night game? I wonder, the Alabama game, will it be a night game or will it be an afternoon game?
They usually play that game at night when it's like real. I mean, but it depends on what CBS wants to do. If they want to do it 2:30 or if they want to do it at night. But I think it will be a prime time game.
I would have thought ESPN would have that game. You know, could do whatever they wanted.
That'll be a CBS game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a CBS game. It's just depending on if it's going to be a 2:30 kick or a 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Whether or not they'll go prime time, which is the night game, you know, would be a prime time game. Isn't that right?
I tell you what, Alabama have played at night all year until this weekend.
Max, want to mention last night you would have loved to have been there. We had camp stew and light bread. Have you ever had any camp stew and light bread? That would just you drop that light bread on that stew and it just turns into a mush, and it was good.
That's my favorite of all food, Mike. I'm gonna tell you.
Camp stew.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna tell you. I've made pots and pots of that, and I got stories to tell you about some of my first cooking in camp stew. But that's for another day.
You know, some people put butter beans in there, and some people don't. I like it with butter beans in there.
Yeah, I eat it with both, and I cook it with both.
You know, corn. I like the corn. Now some people will pull pork, and some people will put chicken in it and pork in it. What do you do?
I do all. I put chicken and pork in mine. I cook it. I usually cook the chicken and pork separate, and then pull it both and put it in there with the tomato base. And I've used corn. I've used butter beans.
Oh yeah.
You know, and of course you gotta eat it with cornbread.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. If you had the cornbread, would be even better, no question. What's your plan this week, Max? Where you gonna be?
This coming weekend?
Yeah.
I'll be sitting right here in my den watching about 4 different ball games.
Are you gonna be cooking for anybody?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be cooking this week. We're gonna do chili this weekend. It's 42 degrees up there this morning.
Yeah. Now, how do you do your chili now? Do you do it with, of course, you do it with beans and hamburger meat?
I do the hamburger meat. I sear all that first, but I put chicken in my chili. I'll boil chicken, pull it off the bone.
Oh, I didn't know that. So it's coming, yeah.
And I'll do the beans and the peppers and onions and then some garlic, and then I'll throw a pinch of cayenne pepper in mine as well, get it tangy. And that's another dish I serve with cornbread.
Oh yeah.
We do big time cornbread. And I got some guys up here. You know, this is country. This is old South country. They got their own hogs up here. And we'll make cracker bread.
Yeah.
Out of the skin.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks don't even know what that is, much less eat it.
Max, before I let you go, tell us about Auburn and Arkansas. Arkansas, for some reason, always plays Auburn tough, and I look for it to be this weekend.
Well, I just talked one of my best friends does all the videography for that athletic department. They do all the practices for football and the whole business. He called me last night. They're going to start a freshman quarterback against Auburn. The kid out of South Panola High School over in Mississippi. So, you know, Chad's back's against the wall right now. You know, he hadn't won the 3 ball games since he's been at Auburn.
I know.
So that's, you know, things are going to heat up. They recruited somewhat better than Bielema did, but that's a program that was left completely
Yeah.
in every aspect.
You know, Broyles, he called the shots there all the way up until he died, didn't he?
Oh, he was calling from the funeral home, Mike.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And he rolled over in his grave already, but hopefully a victory over Auburn he'd roll back over, I hope.
Just remember, Dad, they got beat at home by San Jose State a couple weeks ago.
Exactly right.
San Jose State's better than Auburn.
I'm not saying they'll win the game. I just saying I think they'll play them tough. But
I mean, Malzahn's going back home. He's going to have friends and family. He's going to want to show out.
that's right. He is going back home. You know, Max, Malzahn's career is really most everybody knows it. But Max, he was a head coach at Springdale High School right there outside of Fayetteville. That's where and they had that quarterback named Mitch Mustang, was a high school quarterback, phenomenal. He was recruited by everybody, and when Arkansas recruited him, they said, "Coach, do you think?" I mean, I'm sure they used Malzahn as a way to recruit him. So, not only did they sign him, then they hire Malzahn to coach him, and then the head coach and Malzahn got in trouble with each other. Or
Houston Nutt.
disarray. Houston Nutt.
But look at what the running backs that Arkansas had. All three of their running backs at that time were in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Felix Jones and Darren McFadden.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's right.
But the poor old head coach though. Of course, Mustang leaves and goes out to California, and where did?
And never plays at USC.
Never played USC. And so Malzahn is out there in the blue, isn't he? I mean, what happens to him? He goes to Arkansas State or what?
No, he goes to Tulsa because he became the offensive coordinator at Tulsa under Graham.
And
They led the nation in scoring that year.
that's right. They sure did. So he goes to Tulsa.
Well, I think what he's going to do, guys, he's going to go back and, the rumor was last year or so before they hired Chad Marcy, West was going back to Arkansas with the job, and then, the big contract got involved and all that stuff. I think he's going to run the score on them just to make a point. You guys go out and hire a guy from SMU as opposed to you could have had me.
Yeah.
I think that's the point he's going to leave with him.
No question about it.
Look how good SMU is since Morris left. Dykes is that better of a coach?
Spike Dykes.
I would say you better explore that recruiting process.
The NCAA gonna get bumped.
Well, it's not Spike. It's not Spike Dykes was his daddy. Is that right?
Sonny Dykes.
His name's Sonny Dykes. Yeah.
Well, you go back and look, guys. SMU's they got tagged early when they shut them down. The only school in the history of NCAA they ever shut down.
Yeah.
And there's tons of money there, and they know some things that go on sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'd just be interested in seeing how some of those kids got there. How they're doing and performing academically as well.
You look at the Walmart people. Do the Walmart people throwing a lot of money in there?
The Walmart people don't support University of Arkansas.
I was wondering about that.
All that family went to Missouri.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And and I'm pretty impressed with Missouri.
The arena's called Bud Walton Arena, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That was Bud gave them the money for the arena, but they don't support them like financially like you would expect them to because they are.
Thank you.
So what, they got Tyson Chicken and they got Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's right. That's pretty good.
They got Hunt, JB Hunt Trucking Company.
Yeah.
They got 4 or 5 Fortune 500 people in that.
So there's money in their program. Is that right?
Well, money's not the problem, guys. It's the demographics of where they're located, and it's just so different. You would be surprised, and I was when I finally got a chance to go there and really do a couple of radio shows on campus and really get to know the people up there. That's a different environment.
Max, if you'll think about it, Texas, everybody, all the Oklahomas and the Texases and the Arkansas all went to the state of Texas to get their players. Do they still do it, or is Texas program down?
No, they still do it, but Since Arkansas moved to the SEC, what helped Phil was Texas A&M coming to the SEC. That helped them go back into Texas and recruit.
Yeah.
Guys, that's a whole different environment out there. I mean, that's, Texas folks think that they're a nation within themselves. They don't like people, but Oklahoma's done a good job in there. Of course, they slide in there and beat Texas, on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
Arkansas hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah.
Arkansas, they can't beat Texas A&M, and they have a problem beating a lot of people.
Well, Max, thank you.
How scary is Oklahoma, Max, with the defense? They really impressed me against Texas, man. That defense is a lot better.
You know who they got this weekend, don't you? They got Neil Brown.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm worried about Neil. Neil's going to get embarrassed here, I think. I'm worried about it.
Well, I mean, he's got a tough schedule.
33 points.
How much?
Line is 33.
33. And, of course, Neil Brown's now, former Troy coach, is now at West Virginia and doing a great job.
They lost back-to-back. They lost to Texas at home, and then they got destroyed by Iowa State at home. But those are two pretty good teams.
Yeah, no question about it. It looks like Kentucky's falling off the roof a little bit. I don't expect them to bounce back any. Do you? Mississippi State's is off the roof. Florida, not Georgia. Tennessee's off the roof. Vanderbilt's off the roof. We're talking about teams that are just falling off the radar. And the teams now to watch are Missouri and of course Alabama and Auburn.
Missouri's got a postseason bowl ban that's got to be reversed. Due to some NCAA actions. To start the season, so that didn't get reversed.
Is this the last year? I think this is.
Well, no, this happened. This happened at the start of the season. They had a tutor that took a lot of tests for players.
I was thinking it was last year.
No. So the NCAA came in and it basically said they couldn't play in the SEC championship game and can't play in a bowl game, and they're appealing it. And if it doesn't get reversed, they could actually win the East and not even represent the East.
That's unreal. I tell you one thing about them, Max, is their head coach is hard-nosed. He's a hard-nosed guy.
He was the defensive coordinator, so he got promoted.
Yeah.
From that side, on that side of the ball. I watched that film, and I disagreed. Remember 2 or 3 years ago when they had the coaching change, they had kids walk out because some kind of hunger strike on campus or something.
Yeah.
And let the school politics get involved over in the athletic department. And I think that really hurt them nationally, and I think it hurt them recruiting.
Yeah, no question about it.
Mariota's been able to pull them back together. And, of course, getting a transfer from Clemson didn't hurt.
I tell you what, by being there, hey, they don't have any problem with money. I mean, they have great facilities. They've got great facilities. And they're right in there with everybody else as far as facilities go, no question. And, again, if South Carolina could find some way to be able to turn the corner this weekend, which I don't know if it will, it's going to be interesting to see after that big win how they play.
Well, it will be. It just, I've talked about this before with other people. It all depends on what kind of practice sessions they had this week. How did Will take that team off that big win? I know he gave them Sunday off and probably gave them light workout on Monday. At the end, so did he get back to the basics and really try to keep the momentum going, or did he give them some time off and let practice up, cut it short, as a reward for him? It depends on how he handled it. In the end results, guys, it depends on how the kids respond to that.
Yeah.
Whether they want to come back in and try to play at that level.
Yeah, it's hard to realize it, but the season is half over. But hey, it's hard for me to realize we've got 7 more ball games, 7 more weeks of college football. That's impressive to me.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about.
They got the conference championship weekend too. So you got the conference championship weekend after that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Max, listen, thank you so much, my friend, for calling in today, and we appreciate you, my friend.
Always love being over you guys. Thank y'all. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one now.
Thank you.
That's Max Howell. We appreciate him. Mike, you're going to be, hold on, we're going to take a break. We have not had
you probably need a break. You probably have had no sleep.
No, we'll be back right after this.
Wrigley's local butchers are on site at both stores and will help you select the best cuts of meat and trim them to your liking. Our USDA Choice beef is the most consistently tender, juicy, and flavorful beef you can buy, all at cost plus 10%.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Ford Truck Month is going on now at Bill Jackson Ford, and folks, we have the deal for you. Take up to $6,000 off MSRP and get 0% APR for 72 months for huge savings on a new 2019 Ford F-150. Select new 2019 Ford Mustang starting at an incredibly low $23,900, or drive home a select new 2019 Ford Escape starting at just $18,900. Bill Jackson is the name you've trusted for over 30 years. Check us out on Highway 231 in Troy or online at BillJacksonFord.com.
I've been working for this my whole life. The chance to relax on the open water. With my financial institution, Max, my Achieve checking account earns dividends. So I'm free to do what I love.
I'm going to be down there. Yeah. Back to our show, brought to you by P.S. Falk Furniture, located in Enterprise, Alabama. And, of course, Andy Falk has been a strong supporter of our show for a long time. We appreciate him very much. Also, I was with Benny and Chrissy last night at the ball game in Green Hills Funeral Home. Just outstanding. Not only the funeral home, but their gardens, and it's a beautiful place. Health Actions, located right here on the bypass. Their home office actually is in Jackson, Alabama, but they have really got a great program going right here in Troy, Alabama. Bill Jackson Chevrolet and Ford now in Troy, Alabama on the bypass, and looking for a Ford car truck or a Chevrolet car truck. They've got it for you at Bill Jackson Ford and Chevrolet right here in Troy. Mike, tell us.
Troy's really catching a break with the scheduling. You know, they lose to Missouri, but then they get 10 days to get ready for South Alabama, and now they're going to have 10 days to get ready for Georgia State. I mean, I think this is a huge factor that Georgia State's got to play Army, a very physical, wishbone team.
That's right. You're right.
On Saturday, and then only have 7 days to get ready for Troy. I mean, this is a game that Troy really needs to go in there and win to get to 4-3, and then. Like we mentioned before, try to get to 6 wins, maybe 7 wins. And then, just like you always say, if you make it to the bowl game, everybody's happy.
Exactly right. And there's no question in my mind, Johnny Williams, who is the executive director of the Camellia Bowl, would love to have Troy to come to Montgomery. It would be great, and for his bowl program. And his bowl has been outstanding. ESPN has been very excited over the growth of the Camellia Bowl right there.
Well, every game comes down to the very end.
Yeah. And another thing, too, is Johnny, not this year, but next year, brings in the bowl game.
Myrtle Beach Bowl.
The Myrtle Beach Bowl. That would be a lot of fun, the Myrtle Beach Bowl, even though it's such a long ways off. But, Coastal Carolina has got to be excited about that bowl game.
This is Steve Campbell, the South Alabama coach's quote from the game last night. He said, obviously, we're very disappointed in the loss. South Alabama coach Steve Campbell said, we need to go back to work and keep improving, try to find a way to win a game like this. We had opportunities.
Yeah.
But you got to agree, they had plenty of opportunities.
They did.
Didn't get it in the end zone.
They did. You're right. They did not have the right guy at the trigger. You're pulling the trigger, and that was the problem. You got to have to win in football. I don't care what anybody says. You got to have a great athlete at quarterback that can make plays. Or if you're going to run the football, just take it and have patience and get the 3 and 4 yards and keep it away from the other team. That's what I thought they would have done was try to keep the ball away from Troy, on big drives and all that. But Troy actually kept the ball away from them, it looked like.
Well, that last drive was a thing of beauty of Troy. I mean, they kept the ball with 11 minutes left. I told my wife, I was like, my God, this game didn't give me over 10:45. Next thing you know, Troy drives it almost,
right.
I think, 8 minutes and scores a touchdown. And of course, that was the end
Let
of
me
the
tell you
game.
something. Let me tell you something that a lot of people don't know or don't realize. There's 40 seconds between every down. Did you know that? I mean, what's the wheel? What's the...
The timeouts in that game were awful. They lasted longer than I've ever remembered even watching the game. I don't know.
Well, and another thing about the 40 seconds is that's after the play, the whistle blows, and then the 40 seconds starts. That's 40 seconds they have now before they've got to snap a ball. Well, gosh, if you're getting 3 and 4 yard lick, you're using the clock. You're running that clock off in a hurry.
Yeah, guess who South Alabama's next opponent at home is?
Who?
Appalachian State.
Oh, boy, they're in trouble.
Bless their hearts.
But I tell you what, though, goes back, and this is not a betting show, but I would say this, that it was a rivalry game. A win on a rivalry game was huge, but the victory also keeps Troy in the mix for the Sun Belt East championship. An even bigger game is coming up next week, Saturday, October the 16th, in Atlanta against Georgia State. But that's not the date there. The date on that game is...
The Georgia State game is the 26th.
Yeah, the 26th. So that was something that might have been a little misprint. They were talking about the kicking game, and of course they must be doing something right with 100 straight extra points being good. But Tyler Sumter has still got to make the big field goal. And like you said, when he hooked that field goal shoot, Georgia Southern was still in the game.
Yeah, I mean, we got extremely lucky.
I mean, not Georgia Southern, but South Alabama.
On the next play, the South Alabama quarterback threw that horrible interception,
yeah.
So that's what saved us.
That sure did. That was the biggest play in the game.
For a touchdown.
That interception was the biggest play in the game. And you're exactly right. And of course, the young man who's a transfer from Oklahoma, he's had several big interceptions in his career, hasn't he?
Yeah, we had another big interception in the Arkansas State game. Of course, Troy got a safety after he had the interception. But yeah, he had an interception against Nebraska last year too.
Saw Terry Motes at the game, Mike. Boy, when it comes to air conditioning and heating, ladies and gentlemen, A1 Services is the way you want to go. Terry Motes, one of the great people, and what I like about him, you call him and said, Terry, will you be here? And yes, he said, I'll be here. And you can always depend on him. He's a great man and comes from a great family, and he's had that wonderful business for a long time. Yes, Mike, how many times as your mama told me to don't make a mess with bringing wood into the house? And how many times on a rainy day she said, you're ruining my carpet. Hey, and also that smoke is getting in the den. How many times you heard that? Well, with gas, you don't have to worry about that. Go with gas logs. They're just as pretty. The aesthetics are there, and it's clean. Just like when I grill a steak, Mike, I'm going to be able to sit down and eat in 15 minutes. You with your charcoal, you're going to dance around there for about an hour and 15 minutes before your charcoal even gets ready. And you have already been eating a bunch of sausage and got filled up on sausage before you ate your steak. How many times do you do that?
I do a lot. We got the Premier Ticket Show tomorrow, so remember when Premier and Jason Gregory's on, we're going to be giving away a Yeti cooler tomorrow, so remember that.
And oh boy, this thing's straight. This thing is heavy.
All right, buddy. Have a good day. I'm glad Troy won.
Well, we are too, and we're excited. And of course, remember the Pick Show is tomorrow, right here on this show, and we appreciate our supporters and very much, and hope that you've enjoyed this show today. And we'll see you bright and early in the morning for Today in LA, and we're going to pick games for the weekend right here on this show, and we'll give away a Yeti cooler.